Hey, welcome to a Liftoff Analytical and Execution PM interview lesson. My name is Kevin Wei. I'm a Senior Product Manager at Amazon. I recently landed offers from FAANG and top startups, and I spent the last 3 years helping PMs consistently land great offers as an interview coach. I'll show you the common mistakes I've seen in PM interview questions and how to avoid them so that you can secure that 10 out of 10 rating in your interviews. So let's get started. The question of how to measure success will not only come up in your analytical and execution rounds, but also as a follow-up question in your product sense and design rounds. This lesson will give you a clear idea of the pain points to hit so that you can adjust the level of detail depending on how this question comes up during your interview. There are 5 areas that interviewers are looking for when they try to understand if you know what success means in a product. 1. Strategic. Can you identify what the company cares about, given where it's at in its life cycle? 2. Strategic. Can you articulate the connection between the product or feature in question to the goals of the company? 3. Analytical. Can you choose top-level ways to measure if this product or feature is successful with respect to the overall company goals? 4. Analytical. Can you prioritize sub-metrics that need to go well in order for the top-level metrics to go right? And 5. Analytical. Can you identify guardrail metrics to ensure that the product or feature is playing well in the broader ecosystem of the company? You'll notice that this is an opportunity to flex not only your analytical skills, but also your strategic skills. At the end of the day, if you can articulate why the product or feature is important to the business, the rest of your answer will fall flat. But Kevin, what if I don't know the product well? I get this question a lot. All you need to know is that it's totally fair game to let the interviewer know that you're not familiar with the product and that you just like some more background information on it. With that said though, make sure you do research on the company you're interviewing for. Download the free version of the product, play around with it, watch demos of others using it, read reviews, and check out talks or interviews with company employees. As an exercise, let's imagine you're in a PM interview and you're asked to measure success of the Target app. What North Star should Target care about? Target is a huge retail store, so the North Star is likely sales. Don't overthink it here. Everything that the Target app does should be in service of driving more sales. Your answer might sound something like this. Target is one of the largest retailers with both online and in-store presences. Their goal is obviously to drive sales. Even though an online presence is important and ubiquitous these days, I could see them caring a lot about expanding their in-store presence since this is the hub for not only core sales, but also other services like in-store pickup, the Starbucks partnership, and more. Also, the Target brand is very strong, and going into the store is a happy thing for many customers. There are 3 common pitfalls into how people start their measuring success answer. But before we get into that, if you're enjoying this PM interview lesson and you want to support this channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. It's a free way to show support and it really does make a difference. So thank you in advance. Common pitfalls in how people start their answer include 1. Not asking clarifying questions. We'll have a separate lesson covering this, but make sure you ask at least 1 or 2 clarifying questions before diving in. 2. Not grounding the answer in why this product or feature matters to the company. Zoom out and think about why this product matters. If it helps, come up with a mission statement for the company and use that to help you understand how the product drives the company mission. And 3. Going into a full strategic analysis of the company. Just give a quick blurb on the product, why it matters, and move on. The meat of your answer comes later, and that's what interviewers are going to be taking notes on to help you move to the next round of interviews. After you identify a top-level goal, think about how the product ties up to that goal. In this case, how does the Target app tie into the goals of Target as a whole? Your answer might sound something like this. I see the Target app as a companion to the in-store experience. Unlike the Amazon app where you do everything online, the Target app helps users do much of the upfront browsing, research, and comparisons at home, then go to the store to buy or pick up the item. It's also a companion in that you can get notifications on when things you need are back in stock, and you can check the inventory of all nearby stores in your area. The app acts as a top-of-funnel sales driver that drives purchases online and fulfillment in the store. So, in service of the overall goal to increase sales, the app's goal is to ensure a high number and high percentage of successful app-to-in-store fulfillments. I'll note that you can also use the Target app to aid shopping in person, like using it to search for the right aisle, but that's a much less common use case in my opinion, and I want to focus on the most important parts. A common question students ask here is, Can I pick more than one top-level metric? I don't recommend it in most cases, but yes, it is okay. But try to keep it as tight as you can. The point of the question is to identify the most important things that we should care about and be able to explain why. Keep in mind that your interview is only 30 to 45 minutes long, so make sure you prioritize accordingly. Now that you've identified the top-level metric for the product or feature, think about what needs to happen to drive that metric in the right direction. Here, you can divide sub-metrics into 3 categories. 1. In-product metrics, 2. Overall business metrics, and 3. Guardrail metrics. Let's start with 1. In-product metrics. In-product metrics are the things that users need to do in order to move the needle in the right direction. A good practice here is to take the interviewer through the entire user funnel, making sure to identify key metrics along the way. In our case, what needs to go right for users to successfully fulfill an order? Well, at a high level, users need to have the app downloaded and used, find what they're looking for in the app, purchase their items in the app, and navigate to Target's pickup counter or drive-up service. Then, you can break these steps down into some key metrics. Common pitfalls here include 1. Not letting your interviewer know how you're breaking up your metrics. If you think about it from their perspective, if you just start listing a bunch of metrics, they're going to wonder if you're ever going to cover metric X. So by letting them know, I'm going to break metrics down into X, Y, and Z, they'll know you've thought of it and we'll get to it. 2. Listing metrics in a random way. It's normal to ramble when nervous, so a nice structure to fall back on is to use the common awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, and monetization framework as a baseline. By following this order, you can organize your thoughts and help your interviewer easily follow along. 3. Not getting specific enough. Number of successful purchases, for example, is not sufficient. What else has to happen to have that successful purchase? 4. Other sides to the marketplace. Many apps have multiple users in the ecosystem. For example, with food delivery apps, you not only have consumers, but also couriers and restaurants. It's easy to get lost by dividing metrics for every single group of users, so just prioritize one group. A common tactic is to prioritize the group that's the hardest to convince to use the app, since if they become unhappy and leave the app, your entire marketplace will fall apart. But make sure you at least mention that you're prioritizing one group of users to focus on, since ignoring other key groups is a red flag. And 5, forgetting to mention qualitative feedback. This one isn't absolutely critical, but try to find at least 1 or 2 places where you'd see qualitative feedback. The data in and of itself doesn't always tell the full story. So show that you know where to look, like user feedback responses, to understand what users are feeling and saying. After you identify everything that needs to happen, you can talk about 2, overall business metrics. In-app metrics are useful to track because they give you a sense of how users are interacting with your product, but they're not sufficient on their own to fully understand the health and success of the product. For instance, if a product has high in-app usage, it may indicate that users find it easy to use and enjoyable, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the product is contributing to the company's overall goals. Business metrics are good indicators of the value that users and the company are getting from your product. By measuring both in-product metrics and overall business metrics, you can get a more complete understanding of the health and success of your product. As a PM, this can help you make more informed decisions about how to improve your product and how to grow your business. Example business metrics include 1. Retention. How do target app users retain? How many users are repeat purchasers month over month? Make sure you pick a time window that makes sense for your use case. Target shoppers go weekly or monthly. A social app, on the other hand, would want its users to be daily. 2. Revenue. How many purchases a month are being driven through the app? Knowing this can help Target optimize its operations. If a large percentage of customers are using in-store pickup via app orders, Target may need to adjust its staffing and inventory levels to ensure that the process runs smoothly and efficiently. This can also help Target understand which channels are profitable to make continued investments. Also, how much is each purchase? This is important to inform marketing and promotion strategies. As more and more retailers move to an app-based experience, Target might need to offer promotions to ensure customers become familiar with and comfortable using its app, so as to not fall behind other competitors who are also offering app-based shopping. And 3, customer satisfaction. How often do people return their items? Returns are a direct measurement of customer satisfaction. If there's a high return rate, we'd want to identify the root cause of this. Are customers feeling confused and adding the wrong item to their cart? Are they receiving the wrong item? Returns can also be costly to target. Returns tie up inventory and take up staff time, which can impact the company's ability to process orders quickly and effectively. By tracking returns, Target can take steps to reduce the number of returns, perhaps even fight fraud. A common pitfall here is not sharing why the metric matters. Treat your interview like an on-the-job discussion. You want your interviewer to think, yes, I can imagine this person as my product peer. Every time a PM asks the data team to track a metric, the team needs to know why this metric is important. Tracking too many metrics can be overwhelming on a dashboard and cause a data team to accumulate tech debt. A PM's job is to prioritize the right metrics to track. Tracking the right metrics also helps us know where to set appropriate targets so that we know we're making progress towards our goals. Now, moving on to 3, guardrail metrics. Guardrail metrics, also known as counter metrics, ensure that your product or feature is successful without harming other parts of the business. They act as a safeguard against over-optimizing for a specific goal and prevent negative outcomes from happening that could result from focusing too heavily on a particular aspect of the product's performance. I like to brainstorm guardrail metrics by asking myself how a clever PM might game the North Star metric. For example, Target could start setting a ton of promotional notifications to users to try and increase the number of purchases in the app. But that might just cause users to turn off notifications or even delete the app. A common pitfall is that some metrics may not tell the true story without a guardrail discussion. If your goal is to increase sales from the Target app, make sure you discuss potential trade-offs such as cannibalization from in-store purchases. Perhaps sales from the app increase, but overall sales decline because customers are less likely to window shop in the store and pick up a few extra items. Or say you want to increase the number of items per basket. One guardrail might be the return rate. Perhaps customers decided that those extra few items weren't needed. You made it so easy that they added stuff they didn't really need. Other common guardrail metrics include customer feedback if you're optimizing for ad revenue, conversion rate if you're optimizing for traffic, average deal size if you're optimizing for the number of customers, and the number of tasks completed if you're optimizing for session length. This common pitfall is super important to remember and will separate an average analytical or execution answer from a 10 out of 10 answer. So in summary, talk about the company's goal and what the product does in service to the company. Define a top-level metric, then talk about all the things that the product has to do to drive that top-level metric. Be specific and cover each part of the in-product funnel. You can follow a user journey to make it easier both for you to organize your thoughts and for the interviewer to follow along. Then follow up with both business metrics and guardrail metrics to tie everything together. And that concludes this lesson. Good luck in your upcoming interview, and if you found this Liftoff PM lesson valuable, consider joining our community by clicking the join button below. By joining, you'll unlock many more valuable PM interview lessons, get access to exclusive posts, and be a part of a private community of PMs preparing for interviews. These lessons give you the same material students get when they pay for private coaching, which can cost hundreds of dollars per hour. Keep up the great work. I can't wait to see what you accomplish, and I'll see you in the next Liftoff PM lesson.